Well, g'day everybody, it's back. Another big week here on Between the Posts. My name is Lachie and I'm joined as always by the wizard, the runner, whatever you want to call him, Jack Banwell. He's back again. How far did you run yesterday, mate?
No, I've had the week off this week. Very sore from the big effort last week.
Yeah, no, fair enough. We're here at the Midway as well. It's fantastic. If it was a little bit closer, Jack might have run here, but it is absolutely brilliant. It's a great little location. Yeah, make sure you get down here. The coffee's brilliant, the beers are flowing, it's really good fun. Really excited for it. Well, because this was recorded on a Sunday, they've got a big UFC event this afternoon, so plenty of events out at the Midway. But we've got a massive show. What's on today's show?
We've got all the usual segments, plus we've got a couple of special ones. The Division 1 report, which we'll go through very shortly. Division 1 Women's Report with Beck Northcott, and the Division 5 wrap, which I will be taking you through this afternoon here, Lachie, at the Midway.
Yeah, I'm excited for that one, the Division 5 wrap. It's always a great little league. Well, not a little league, but a great division there in Division 5. Marion on top there. But I mean, we've also got Farmers League Coach of the Week. We've got the marks and the goals of the week as well. Plus plenty more coming up right now on Between the Posts.
G'day footy fans, it's that time of the week again, BTR Excavations Division 1 review time with myself, Jack Banwell, and the main man of the Adelaide Footy League media team, Lachie Gould.
I wouldn't go main man, but I appreciate that, thank you.
We'll kick it off with your game yesterday, Lachie. The stream team, Glenunga, hosted St. Peter's, and it was St. Peter's who come away with a very impressive 18-point victory. Scores were 12-12, 84, plays 15-12, 102. It was Glenunga who got out of the blocks very well. They led by 9 points at quarter time, and then St. Peter's hit back, leading by 2 points at half time, 17 points at three-quarter time, and ended up finishing 18-point victors. Looked like a close game down there, Lachie, but it was close but no cigar for Glenunga, and St. Peter's did what they needed to do and got the 2 points. What did you make of it?
Yeah, I agree. I think Glenunga were pretty good yesterday, to be honest with you, especially considering where they are. They look lost at times this season. I think it's probably a fair reflection. They'd be pretty disappointed with how the Nathan Grimer handover year kind of went. Obviously, they had a plan there for Alex Guy, and that didn't work out as he was let go after 7 games. But yesterday, overall, they'll be pretty happy with their performance. I was listening to some of the coaches' stuff afterwards, and the direct quote was, pretty good, didn't get the result, but pretty good in the end. It was interesting as well because they had a little bit of a mini fight back in the last quarter, probably about 5-10 minutes before the game ended. The St. Peter's lead was as much as 38 points. So they came back, kicked the last 3 goals of the game, 2 to Smith as well, in that lot as well. He was really good, ended up with 3 goals for the final quarter, 4 overall for the game. But yeah, it was very, very impressive to watch Glenunga's fight back. St. Peter's, though, did what good teams needed to do. Won the game of football, which is really important there, as you said, getting over the line in the end by 18 points. Goals, 4 to Smith, 2 to Opperman, Abel, Davis, Fay, Marini, Wiseman and Wonky ended up on the board as well. Fay's goal was absolutely spectacular. I think that was in the last as well. Bedford's 4 goals. I think he was the difference yesterday, Ty Bedford. De Cesare Michaels as well joined him as multiple goal kickers. Alan Carruthers, De Soto kicked his first goal. That was a great moment as well. For Spockos, Higgins, Ianello, McGill and Nelligan all on the board as well. Best, Smith, Opperman, Agar, West, Davis, Allen, Nelligan, Bedford, Carruthers and Higgins ended up as the best voted by the clubs. But the votes, please.
The votes that you gave away there, Lachie, in the awards, it was 1 vote to Ed Allen, 2 votes Ty Bedford with his 4 goals, and Malachi Carruthers, who we spoke about only a couple of weeks ago as the Rolls Royce of the Adelaide Footy League Division 1. He took home the 3 votes and the Best On Ground award.
Well, our second game sees Payneham Norwood Union taking on Sacred Heart. The man drinking a coffee next to me. Oh, yeah, you better pay attention, Jack. Far out, man.
My bad.
The man sitting next to me who was having a coffee. I mean, first thing that jumps off the paper here, 15 goals 4 to 8 goals 10 there, Wizard. When you're looking at that, you've got to say there's an old adage, bad goal kicking is bad footy, and 8 goals 10, they probably should have been closer than what they were.
Yeah, just a little bit, and particularly in that first half, I think they were 2 goals 5 Payneham, and 4 of those were definitely gettable. Actually, the first shot of the game, Viney crumbed it off his ankles, kicked a very good snap, and it was dribbling through, and we all thought it was through. I was up and about. I called the goal, and then you look up, and the goal umpire signalled for a point, so it must have clipped the point post on the way through. So that's just some of the luck that they didn't quite have yesterday paying them, whereas 15-4 for Sacred Heart, it felt like they were kicking them from bloody everywhere. So that's just Division 1 footy. The margins are very slim, and for Sacred Heart, they did what they needed to do. 36 points probably isn't a true reflection of how the game went. It was only 3 points at three-quarter time, so Payneham were coming home red hot, but yeah, Sacred Heart kicked away in that last quarter. Give you the vote getters in just a second. I do want to shout out one person from Payneham Northern Union, Harry Viney. I thought he was their best for sure. He kicked 3 goals. He probably could have finished with 6 or 7. And it was interesting that Sanderson got in the best for Sacred Heart, who was his direct opponent. Sanderson was also amazing. He probably stopped probably close to 10 entries that were heading Viney's way with some spoils and cutting across and that sort of thing. So it was a great contest between those two big boys. But for the votes, gave 1 to Darcy Lacornu, who ended up with 4 goals in his first game in the A grade this year. He's going to be, that's just another dynamic piece for Sacred Heart's forward line. Brad Agnew set the game up in the first half. He had 2 goals, 2 votes, and he took a lot of intercept marks across the half-back line. And can't go past the 3 votes and the best on ground, thanks to Archie's, for Ethan Moore, who was just an absolute ball through the middle of the ground all afternoon.
Broadview took on Ross Trevor here, and they were pretty competitive for a large portion of the game there, Broadview. Ross Trevor kicked 13 of their 14 goals in the first and the last quarter. Meanwhile, Broadview played very, very well. Their pressure, their work ethic, all of that was very, very impressive. For a team that's struggling a little bit, I think is a fair way of putting it, that's at 0-13 now. They're looking likely they'll end up back down in Division 2, barring, I think, even the most optimistic fan would say, a minor miracle. Ross Trevor are a team that should probably play finals from where they're sitting now. That's a massive, I think, step in the right direction for Broadview, despite the fact they ended up fading out of the game, which is going to happen with a young team. They were pretty competitive for about 3 quarters. Yeah,
I've got in the notes here, firstly, commiserations to Broadview, another honourable loss. But it was a very commendable performance, I think, being down by 30 points at quarter time.
We're going to go first into the first quarter, the 18-minute mark. Elliot Miranda kicked an absolute snag. Enjoy this one, folks.
2 or 3 in that marking contest, just slow, coming to the sidelines. No rush, of course, when you've got a player having a potential shot on goal. So Miranda, geez, a lovely kick. He might be in the line here for the snag of the day. Jag Meatwork snag of the day to Miranda. That is absolutely...
Talks to the best and the votes, please, Wizards.
No worries. Thanks to Matty Gale for some great notes, as always. Plenty of player notes here from Matty. Xavier Tramfer, exquisite skills, a cut above, he says. Ryan Lim was a workhorse in the engine room for Rocks. Darcy Best, terrific down back, ever reliable to shut down his opponent.
Yes, Jack, rolling into our next game. PAC took on Salisbury North, and it was the Hawks by 43 points. And we're going to signal one player out. Geordie O'Brien, I don't know what he's had for breakfast on a Saturday morning, but it's worked well for him the last couple of weeks. His stoppage work was incredible. It was in the second quarter they were really able to get in cruise control, 4 goals to 0, and they were really strong defensively all day. So a massive shout out to the likes of Hay down there, and of course his company. PAC, they started well, kicked the first 2 goals of the game and only managed 2 more for the rest of the game. So that's disappointing there. You can't really, very different to the situation we had before with Broadview, where you can say they were competitive for a little while. Yep. You kick the first 2 goals of the game and then just kind of fade out of it. That's certainly not good enough for this standard of football.
Yeah, they'd definitely be disappointed with that one. For Salisbury North, though, I think full credit has to go to Salisbury North. PAC can be a tough place to go. Any away trip in the Adelaide Footy League is tough. So for Salisbury North to go away from home and only concede 32 points, which is their second lowest score that they've conceded all year, it shows that Salisbury North are heading in the right direction. At the start of the year, they were sort of getting involved in a few shootouts. Now that their defence is a bit more rigid, they're locking down on a lot more teams and not conceding as much. So it's always dangerous to get in shootouts, especially with the quality of offence that we have in the Adelaide Footy League. So for them to improve on that defence and not concede as much, they'd be very, very pleased.
But the votes, please, for the High Five e-bike.
The votes for the High Five e-bikes. It was Jake Russo took home the 1 vote, dominated in the ruck all afternoon. Tyrell Hocking through the middle of the ground, 2 votes. And Geordie O'Brien, well, we know he eats leather for breakfast on a Saturday morning. He took home the 3 votes and another pair of thongs, thanks to Archie's.
Well, this was it. This was the biggest upset I think we've seen since St. Peter's defeated Glenunga last year. The lid is off. Golden Grove
The lid's off, Lachie. The
paper's
lid is off at Harpers Field.
The paper's all over the ground as well. Golden Grove took on Port District and got the job done in their replica of their first junior side's 1995 Special Guernsey. They were absolutely electric. The hottest teams entered Harpers Field, and from minute one, it was Golden Grove. They kicked 8 goals to Port District's 1 to start the game. They were 0-6 in the third quarter, which was a bit of a weird one as well. A little bit out of whack, but they were really, really good for a lot of yesterday.
They certainly were. My old man was at the footy yesterday, and he described it as a ridiculous level of footy that Golden Grove played in the first half. So thanks, Dad. You love the shout out there, getting on the show. But most importantly for Golden Grove, they put it on the scoreboard. 11 goals, 5. We're only speaking about a couple of games just before in the Division 1 wrap. Payneham couldn't quite get it on the scoreboard. Golden Grove, they made it count, 11 goals, 5, and that was the gap too far. It was 48 points at half time, and they were able to be in cruise control for the second half.
The best players and the votes, please, Jack.
Not a worry. Couple of shout-outs to some guys who didn't get in the best for Golden Grove. Obviously, Lenny Pascoe, he finished with 5 goals, and they were all actually at half-time, so all in the first half. He dominated and set the game up. Special shout-out to Tom Robertson in the ruck. Even the contest against Lysette didn't have his usual influence around the ground and at stoppages. And then in the best players for Golden Grove, Cavallaro, Ingram, Thatcher, Collins, and that man, Josh Glenn. Lysette, Gould, Carpeny, Miller Carter, and Matt Rose are in the best for Port. And for the High Five E-Bikes Player of the Year voting, Jake Pittman with 1, Glenn with 2, and they were both overshadowed by a young man in his first season in A-grade footy, Nick Collins. He took home the 3 votes, and his effort and intensity at the contest all day was inspirational for the Kookaburras, which saw them get home by 38 points.
Yeah, I like him. He's able to win on the outside, win the ball on the inside as well. So a really, really good player and a really good find there for Golden Grove. Now, having a look at Golden Grove's run home. Before we do cut the Division 1 wrap and have a look at the ladder and the next week's teams get Jack's tips, who's been absolutely on fire recently with them. Broadview 10th, PNU 9th, Glenunga 7th, Ross Trevor they're in 3rd, and PAC are in 8th. That's their run home. That is, dare I say it, I'll say 5 winnable games. Some people would say 4 topsy-turvy with Ross Trevor there.
Yep.
But that's some winnable games of football.
100%. Well, they've passed the litmus test in the last 3 weeks, beating the other top 3 sides who are in the 5. And now this is the reward. They get the favourable run of fixtures coming into finals time. And there is no doubt in my mind they'll be targeting all 5 of those and hoping to go into finals virtually undefeated for the last when we get to round 18, about 10 weeks or so. So there'll be massive confidence at Harpers Field, and yeah, it's a dream run really for any side approaching finals, I would have thought.
Absolutely. Round 14, 15, 16, 17 and 18 on the other side there in order for a team we think may fall out in Ross Trevor. Now, we haven't picked Ross Trevor based off how they've been playing. We picked Ross Trevor based off their opponents. Salisbury North, St. Peter's, 2 very losable games. Shock is a 3rd losable game. Golden Grove is around 17. That's a game that could really decide who plays finals footy. That is massive.
Yeah, definitely. With Salisbury North obviously breathing down the top 5 next as well. Yeah, they'll be fancying themselves. And then obviously in round 18, Port District, Ross Trevor. They're an interesting side. They've been in amazing form. They've kicked 100 points, I think, in the last 4 rounds in a row. So they're definitely putting it on the scoreboard. They've got a diverse forward line. They've got a really great midfield with Wharton and Butterworth and the like.
Transfer in there as well.
Oh, how can we forget Xavier Transfer? That's my bad. Sorry, mate.
He's going to be in your DMs.
Round 16 there, the game against Shock, they took care of Shock a few weeks ago, so they'll have plenty of confidence going into that one. And unfortunately, my memory just evades me. I can't remember how they went against the other 4 of the top 4. But with the form that they are in and the confidence they'll take from their first season in Division 1, I think, there's no reason. It's like Golden Grove. They answered the test against the very best. And I think Ross Trevor definitely are capable of doing the same.
Yeah, I mean, Salisbury North is the other team there that sits, and it's very interesting. Next week, we're probably going to have a little bit of a look. We came up with this idea on the fly to level and show you what's behind the doors of production. But what we'll do next week is we'll have a little bit of a look around the potential of how each team fares up for the final 4 rounds of footy, who they play, whether or not it's likely, and who's going to finish inside the top 5. Without doing all that work now, just to give the people a little bit of a go, and I'm going to sit on the fence because I can't afford any more nicknames. So who's finishing outside the top 5, Jack?
You've already made a few terrible calls there, Lachie, over the course of the
Yeah,
season.
that's probably fair
So
too.
maybe we'll just... No, you're right. with that run, Ross Trevor potentially do slide. It's only a game the difference from 3rd to 6th. And Salisbury North do have a healthy percentage. So, yeah, it's a tough call. But, yeah, Ross Trevor, I think, do slide out.
I'm going to go the other way. I'm going to say it's... I've decided instead I'm going to get involved instead of sitting on the fence.
Okay.
I'll back you in. I'm not going to go with Ross Trevor. I'm actually going to go with Sacred Heart, which sounds like a bit of a wild suggestion.
That's huge.
Yeah. I say they're going to miss finals, and I say they're going to miss finals. You have a look at their back half of their year to date. They were top. They were 0-6.
Yep.
But I'm believing a little bit less in the project each time I see them play.
They looked good yesterday. I'm back on the Sacred Heart train. I was pretty quick to write them off a couple of weeks ago with some of the performances they dished up, but they're getting some players back, and the best ability is availability in the Adelaide Footy League. And I loved what I saw from them yesterday.
Well, to be fair, though, Sacred Heart, take that with a grain of salt, because they also said Golden Grove were ridden off at the halfway point. So what do I know? Anyway, we'll have a little bit of a look at that ladder, as we were just touching on there. Port District and St. Peter's tied for points at the very top. Port District took a pretty, heavy percentage whack there, 59%. They were up at about 61 or 62% prior to the round. St. Peter's go up. They're now 4 percentage points behind Port District. Ross Trevor, Golden Grove, and Sacred Heart all next on that line. So they're on 18 points. They could finish first. They could very easily on the other side also finish 6th. The 6th place team at the minute, kind of in a world of their own, 1 win away from Sacred Heart and nearly 4 wins back from Glenunga. That is Salisbury North. They're sitting in 6th. Glenunga 7th, they're on 8 points. Prince Alfred and Payneham Norwood Union both on 6. You probably would say whoever wins now. I'm not sure. Do these two teams have a matchup coming up?
Yeah, they would. Yeah, I think it's in a couple of weeks.
There you go. That'll probably decide who ends up going down, whoever wins that game of footy. And Broadview, well, they're dead last at the minute, unfortunately for them, have not had the season they would desire. You would imagine for Broadview, it is all over and they will be down in Division 2 next year. Yeah,
it's definitely hard to see them winning. At the moment, they need to win 4 games out of their remaining 5. So, yeah, unfortunately, Broadview are playing Division 2 football next year. Like what I saw from Payneham yesterday, PAC are really interesting. Like, they haven't fired a shot really in the last few weeks. So, I think we're seeing Payneham maybe just being a bit more galvanised in trying to stay up in Division 1. They're a proud club. I love the feeling and the support that they had. Their fans turn up every week and are screaming from the balcony. So hopefully, for Paynham's sake, that can be enough for them to stay up. And it would be an interesting Division 1 next year without Prince Alfred if that does happen to be the case.
Prince Alfred only, 2 years ago were premiers. So it would be a weird one to see something like that happen. Where they go from, the absolute highs to not the lowest of the lows, because obviously Division 2 is still a very competitive league. But much like the Championship in England, it's very hard to get back out of it once you're in it. Brighton are finding that out the tough way this season.
Yeah, Brighton are finding it tough, and Goody Saints have found it tough the last couple of years. They've been the creme de la creme of Division 1 over the last sort of 10 or so years, and they've been in Division 2 for the last couple, and Athelston and Teacher Gully look really good, so they might be in Division 2 for another year. So, yeah, it just shows the strength of the Adelaide Footy League as a whole, which is excellent for the teams below. Like Golden Grove, the last few years, been in Division 3, Division 2, and now they're one of the main guys in Division 1, and Salisbury North are trying to emulate that as well. So it's great aspiration and inspiration for the teams in the lower divisions for sure.
Now it's on to my favourite part of the Division 1 wrap. This is the bit where we get to make fun of each other, and we will have to, I think next week, do a bit of a tally. I've got a job for Darcy, the producer, to just put on top of his ever-ending workload.
We love making
we
work
love
for
making
Darcy, don't we?
I'm going to make him go back and watch all the tips segments, and we might have a little bit of a tally between me, yourself, Tommy, anyone else that's had a tip at some rounds. We might have to do a percentage-based thing in terms of who's actually winning there. But here we go, round 14 of the BTR Excavations Division 1. Salisbury North taking on Ross Trevor. Who wins that one?
At the Nest, Hawks.
There you go. Broadview taking on Golden Grove.
Golden Grove by a lot.
St. Peter's and Prince Alfred.
St. Peter's, Prince Alfred. Spot.
Port District and Payneham Norwood Union.
Port District.
And Sacred Heart taking on Glenunga.
Sacred Heart. Yep.
Interesting game of footy there. I guess.
How original, right?
Yeah, I know. It's an interesting round of football because it's the top 5 taking on the bottom 5, so it makes life very easy from a tipping perspective if things go the way we expect them. I'm going to go Ross Trevor, I'm going to go Golden Grove, I'm going to go St. Peter's, I'm going to go Port District, and my last team that I'm going to tip is Sacred Heart. No surprises there. A pretty easy round of football to tip, but footy isn't played on paper, so it's going to be very interesting to see who ends up winning there. But that wraps us up from the BTR Excavations Division 1. We will see you very, very shortly for more Between the Posts.
Do you belong in a role that drives you? In a community that makes you proud? In a team that brings out your best? You belong in blue. Apply for a career with South Australia Police.
Well, it's women's wrap time and round 13 is over, and you know what that means. Only one round to go for women's footy this season before we get straight into finals. Now, we're going to get right into the BTR Excavations Division 1 comp because, my goodness, what a round this was. Now, I really talked up this round in the last show saying every match mattered, and this round, well, it straight up delivered. I'm talking a 17-point margin, a draw, a 3-point margin, and a 12-point margin. It does not get much better than that. Now, I feel like sometimes my predictions don't always come true, but for once, my feelings about this round being huge turned out to be true. I guess we have to be right at least once a season. But enough about me, let's talk about these matches. And we'll start with the 17-point margin, which was the match between Golden Grove and Happy Valley. Now, if we look back to last week's preview, you'll remember coming into this round, Happy Valley, they hadn't won a game since round 6, and Golden Grove, they were seeking their first win. So both teams looking to break a little bit of a drought. Well, it was Happy Valley who broke theirs, getting up 4 goals 5-29 to defeat Golden Grove 1 goal 6-12. And boy, did Happy Valley want this one, I think, because they started the game with 2 goals won in the first quarter and leaving Golden Grove scoreless. Now, whilst Happy Valley didn't put on a massive total overall, they did well to hold Golden Grove goalless until the 4th quarter. And they just did what they had to do, got the win, and got themselves back on the winners list. Now, we must say Golden Grove had some chances here. 1 goal 6, not really ideal kicking, and that includes 4 behinds scored in the 3rd term. But we have to say, well done to Happy Valley, back on the winners list, and I think it would just be a big relief for the team. Now, I was going to open with this match, but I just had to leave you hanging, and it's the draw. Now, who else but our top 2 sides in Payneham and Henley to play out a draw 2 weeks out from finals? You could not script this stuff any better. And I mean, I think we could have maybe seen this result coming really, because back in round 6, only 4 points could separate these teams, where Payneham got up in a thriller in that round. Now, the sequel ends in a draw, and honestly, just wow. And the best part is, our top 2 is set in Division 1, so we know we're going to see this matchup again in 2 weeks. How lucky are we? But let's chat about this draw, because what a game. So, first quarter, let's talk about it. Payneham, they burst out of the blocks, 4 goals 1, holding Henley to 2 goals 2. So, Payneham up by 11 points at quarter time. Half-time, well, Payneham got out to 6 goals 1-37 to Henley 3 goals 3-21. So a nice 16-point buffer. First half very much in Payneham's favour. They were really accurate, got themselves into a good spot. Enter quarter 3. Henley kicked 4 goals 1 to Payneham's 1 goal 1 to end in front by 2 points. That just set us up for a huge final term between these 2 teams. Henley, they went on to kick 1 goal 2 and Payneham 1 goal 4. So that saw both teams end on 8 goals 6, 54. Just full deadlock between these 2 teams. What a match. Now let's have a look at the scoreboard, and we'll start with Henley. Tegan Dunbar, of course she was around the mark. It's a big game. She's a big game player. She's hitting the scoreboard. She's kicked 4 goals. Demi Bates, Eliza Cooper, and Karina De Borello and Tegan Fry, they also kicked goals as well. Demi Bates, well, she was best on for the Sharks. On the Payneham side, well, we said a huge welcome back to Paynham's Adrian Davies, and she did that with 3 goals, back from Sandfield duties from Norwood. So a massive match from her. She's a massive in for that side. And of course, Chelsea Packer was amongst it as well, kicking 2 of Paynham's goals. But we've got to talk about Abby Claby here, of course, last year's Dutch ski medalist. She was best on last week. She was best on again this week, and she's absolutely hitting a really great patch of form heading into finals, like just kicking into gear at absolutely the right time. Well, this game, of course, could not have been any closer. And I talked last week about how this would be a good match for these 2 teams to suss each other out coming into finals, because we know that they're going to meet again. Now, again, it couldn't have been any closer, but I think a good opportunity for both teams to just work on their plans for the finals that are to come in the next few weeks. We know that they're going to meet again. We know we're going to see this all play out another time. So I think the coaches now get back to the drawing board and suss out how they're going to stop those key players from each team. And well, Payneham, they're technically still undefeated as they did not lose the game. Now we move on to our next nail biter, where just 3 points separated Broadview and Goodwood, and this match was played at Broadview. And it was Broadview who held on to take this one out, 4-6-30 to Goodwood's 4-3-27. And when I say held on, I absolutely mean it, as Broadview only kicked 2 behinds after halftime and still managed to win this one. Now, this was a tight and tough match all round, a good old-fashioned arm wrestle, if you will. At 3/4 time, just 2 points separated the teams, with Broadview 2 in front. And well, there was only 1 point scored in the last term, and that was by Broadview. So can you imagine that final quarter there? It must have just been full of tackles, pressure, just absolutely solid there. Oh, wowee. Now, we saw a nice even spread of goal kickers for the Broadview Tigers. Brie Arthur, Remy Grant, Lucy Mussolino and Abby Player all kicking 1 goal each. Brie Arthur was also the best on for Broadview. For the Saints, Tessa Coyne kicked 2, Jess Chire kicked 1, and so did Hayley Thilthorpe. Best on for the Saints was Corey Webb. Now, for Goodwood, they'd be a little bit disappointed to not have got the win here for this one. It would have made their push for finals that little bit easier. But as we speak, they do still hold on to 4th position, and they do have the advantage of having a really good percentage. So despite losing to Broadview and being even on points, they do still manage to sit ahead of them on the ladder. But it all comes down to round 14 now. For Broadview, well, their late rise up the ladder in the last half of the season has been nothing short of iconic. The belief is really back there with this team, and they are just getting it up. They're getting up and about. They're getting the wins. Now, it's going to take an upset over Henley for Broadview and some other results to go their way. But look, you never know. It's the end of the season. Anything could happen. Anything is possible. Now, in our last blockbuster of the round, we had Hectorville versus Morphettville Park. Well, it was the Roos who got it done, 9-5-59 to Hectorville, 7-5-47. So the win, of course, goes to Morphettville Park. And, well, it did take them a hot minute, though, to get going. Hectorville came out of the blocks really firing, kicking 2 goals forward to lead at quarter time by 9 points. Well, Morphettville Park after that just got their heads back in the game, holding Hectorville to 1 behind and putting on 3-1 to really regain control of the match. Then they put their foot down absolutely, kicking 5 goals in the third to be up by 28 points. Although held to 2 points in the last term, the damage was absolutely done in the third, and the Roos got the win. Now, on the scoreboard, most of the goal kicking was done by Chloe Harding, slotting 5 for Morphettville Park, which earned her best on ground honours as well. And so she should. Caitlin Swanson also kicked 3 goals, and Julia Watson contributed with 1. For Hectorville, Elkie Cameron kicked 3 goals, Taylor Roberts kicked 2, and Grace Mulvihill and Grace Whitaker kicked 1 each. Elkie Cameron, with those 3 snags, was best on. Must have been a great day to be a forward in this match. Now, Hectorville, they really needed this win to have a serious finals crack. But if we do a little bit of the maths in terms of the ladder and, they managed to win, some things happen, they actually could make the 4. But they definitely have had their moments this season. If they don't manage to make their finals, well, I think they're building a really great team at Hectorville, and I think they can definitely challenge in this division in the coming season. For Morphettville Park, well, they sit in 3rd and should be able to hold on to 3rd if they want it. Now, they did what they do best this week and just got the win that they needed, just got the job done. And we know that they are always so dangerous come finals. Now, we have to get into this ladder in Division 1 because it is just so tight, and this last round is going to be massive. Now, we of course are set with our top 2 with Payneham and Henley. But as soon as we get into the middle of the ladder here, it is just so crazy. We've got Morphettville Park with their 7 wins. They've got the strongest percentage, so it looks like they're going to lock in their final spot. Then between Goodwood, Broadview and Happy Valley, we are separated only by percentage. They're all on 6 wins. And, just anything could happen in terms of these matches. Happy Valley are probably going to be the one that's going to be the most difficult for, as their percentage is a little bit low. Then we've got Hectorville lurking as well. As I said, if we do a little bit of maths, the results go their way, they could slide into that 4th position as well. But this last round is just so huge. So who's playing each other? What's going to happen? Well, we've got Hectorville and Happy Valley. As I said, 2 of those teams in that mid-range area trying to just clench onto that 4th spot. So massive game there. Morphettville and Goodwood, 3rd versus 4th. Huge game there as well. Then we've got Payneham and Golden Grove, and we pretty much know how that one's going to play out. And then we've got Broadview and Henley here. Now, as I mentioned, if Broadview can cause an upset here, they could also see themselves coming into finals as well. So Division 1, everything's happening. It's all going to come down to the last round to see who will make finals. That is just why we love footy. Now, let's just have a bit of a quick look around the grounds because, we've been keeping an eye on some of those undefeated teams in other divisions. Now, Division 2, I talked last week about how we had the top 2 clash incoming between Anglevale and Tea Tree Gully. And we had a 1-point thriller. For Anglevale fans, don't worry, you're still undefeated. But it was a close one. 6 goals, 9-45 to Tea Tree Gully's 6 goals, 8-44. So, Division 2, we're heading into finals. The top 2 are so close. 1 point could separate them. It's getting crazy. Now, Division 4, Modbury, we know they were our other undefeated team. And would you believe it, another 1-point thriller. Modbury were challenged by the 6th place Woodville South, but they managed to hold on for the win by 1 point. Seriously, what are the chances of all these things happening in 1 week? Our undefeated team saw Payneham having a draw and Anglevale and Modbury winning by 1 point. Just classic stuff happening here. Now, before we finish, we have to check in with Division 5 as well because we know our best friend TJ wants us to check in with those Salisbury North girls. And well, it was a perfect 10 out of 10 to Beck Wanganeen from Salisbury North. She kicked 10 stunning goals for Salisbury North. And the Salisbury North girls, we know they've been on an absolute heater this season. They kicked 21 goals, 12 in this match, 138 points for an epic win, their 12th of the season. I know you enjoyed that one, TJ, and you're going to enjoy their run throughout the finals. Well, that's all I've got for you in this show in terms of women's footy. As I said, keep your eye on the results for round 14, especially in those Division 1 clashes. We'll be back next week with all of your wrap-ups of how the teams finish for the women's in all of our divisions, and we'll get ready for some cracking finals action. I'll see you next time.
G'day footy fans, it's that time of the week again, your Farmers Leap Coach of the Week. And this week we're heading to Div 5 and Woody South. Mick Kilsby is the coach of the Cats. He signed for season 2025 from being the Waikerie coach the last couple of years. Mick's coaching philosophy aligns with the values of Woodville South, of teamwork, dedication and community spirit. And how's this for a feel-good story? After round 7, Woody South were 0-7, 3 games outside the relegation zone. Since then, they've gone on to win 5 of their last 6, finding themselves only 1 game out of the finals placings. Can't wait to have a chat with Mick and see what magic spell he's got placed on this team and find out what's been the catalyst for getting wins on the board. The comp is so close in Division 5, he and the Cats won't be feeling comfortable at all. But at least for the next 24 hours or so, he can chuck the feet up with a glass of wine because you, Mick Kilsby, are our Farmers Leap Coach of the Week.
G'day everybody, welcome back here to the Division 5 wrap for 5AA. My name is Lachie Gould, I'm wrapped to be here and I'm joined by the Wizard who has got lots of information around this fantastic division. Jack, let's start with the weekend just gone. What happened?
Yeah, Lachie, lots to get stuck into with the 5AA Division 5 wrap. Can't wait to bring it to you and all the viewers because you know lots about Division 5, don't you, Lachie?
Plenty about Division 5.
Round 13 fixtures, we'll just touch on them quickly. It was Woody South getting another win, so they're rocketing up the table, which we'll touch on very shortly. They got the job done over Pracker by 2 points. Scores were 80, plays 78. There, Brian Gill kicked 4 for Woodville South, and unfortunately for Pracker, it's their 4th loss in a row. Down at Portland playing their remaining 9 games, so the back half of the season at home due to some works on their oval earlier in the year, Lachie. So they've got the home ground advantage coming into finals time. They got a really good win by 34 points against Trinity. Terry Malira kicked 6 for Portland, and it's 2 losses in a row, sliding back into the relegation zone for Trinity, which we'll touch on very shortly. Eastern Park. Now this, big win for Eastern Park and the Demons. They're in some fine form. They've won 5 out of their last 6. Nappy kicked 8, the big man down in the forward line. He was playing centre-half back, calling himself the best centre-half back in the comp. Now he's back down in the forward lines where
he's modest too.
Where he kicks lots of goals. They won by 71 points against Greenacres, so a big statement in Division 5 there. For Marion, the Marion train just keeps on rolling. They won by 64 points over Pulteney. And Salisbury, my former club, they got a really good win on a very special day for them. It was past Players' Day and celebrated the 10-year anniversary of a reserves premiership a few years ago. They beat Gazer, who they probably kicked themselves out of it, to be fair. 4 goals, 13, Gazer kicked. 37, plays 8-7, 55. So Salisbury won by 18 points there. The margin was single digits at every break before Salisbury come home with a wet sail on their home turf. So that's a quick touch on the round 13 matches there. Lachie, should we get stuck into the ladder?
Yeah, why not? Let's have a little bit of a look in here. Marion absolutely cruise control, 13-0, 26 points on their season. Greenacres are an 18, Eastern Park 16. So the potential there, Greenacres could fall below Eastern Park. That would be a bit of a change from the first time Marion and Greenacres played each other, where both teams went into that game undefeated. That was, I believe, round 5 or 6. Paraka, 12 points. Portland also on 12 points as well. Woodville South, haven't they had a great rise since round 7? We'll have a look at that in a minute. Pulteney and Salisbury also on 10 points. Meanwhile, Gazer 8 and Trinity on 8 as well. So no one below 3 wins on the ladder. 4 wins, probably potentially 5 wins, and you could end up going down. That's almost unheard of.
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely not like the other competitions around the Adelaide Footy League where relegation and finals positions are set. It's all to play for the finals. The top 2 are probably sewn up. Eastern Park is sort of a game away from Greenacres, so they're still going to get a double chance more than likely, Eastern Park. So finishing 2nd and 3rd doesn't really matter a whole lot there. So the remaining finals places all to play for, and relegation all to play for here in Division 5. And I'll give a quick shout out to a fellow compatriot of ours, Tony Neal. He gave me some gold last week on his Division 6 wrap, which I'm just going to take a little leaf out of your book here, Tony. So I found a little bit of a focus area for each team, just going off of the ladder where they sit, their for and against in terms of total points. And yeah, we'll just touch on little focus area for each team. So we'll start off at the top of the table. As we touched on, Marion undefeated, 13-0. Well, it's more of the same, please. You're sitting number 1 in the comp for offense and number 1 for defense. You guys are humming, 13-0. More than likely going to make the grand final and go up. So just continue on doing what you're doing down there. For Greenacres, it's probably the defence we're looking at there for you guys. Second worst in Division 5, so second total most points against. Far out, was a bit of a tongue twister there.
Yeah, did well.
Whether in training it's working on your defence, or maybe it's always hard. You've got to sort of take these things with a grain of salt. There could be some injuries. It's that time of the year where bodies are a little bit sore and we're just nursing some players on the track. But you guys are sitting very pretty, third for offence and sitting second on the ladder. Eastern Park, sensational form after an early season blip. You've won 5 of your last 6, getting into some shootouts. Currently third most points against in the comp. If you can lower the scores against, we know how big of a score you can put on the board. You put on 130 in round 13. So look out Division 5. If Eastern Park can shore up their defence, they're going to be one to watch coming into the remaining few games of the year. For Paraka, you're sitting 4th and you had some really tight wins at the start of the year, but just the last few months, some goal accuracy has come to haunt the Bulls. 11 goals 12, 9 goals 18 and 10 goals 18 are some of your score lines in some losses over the last month. Defensively, very sound, 3rd in the comp for points against, so very rigid. Just, put the ball through the big sticks, as we talk about all the time, Lachie. Accurate goal kicking is the best way for good football and to ensure some good wins. So it's all looking pretty good down there. Just a little bit of polish to shore up there for the Bulls. Portland, it's defence for Portland. The worst defence in Division 5, conceded the most amount of points. So you need to shore that up. We know that Portland can kick a good score on the board. They put on 116 on the weekend, still conceded 80 odd points, and against a lot of other teams, especially Eastern Parks, Greenacres and Marions, 82 points is a score where you probably lose because the defence is a lot better.
Yep.
For Woody South, what a story.
Yeah, it is. It's a bit of an interesting story for those that have missed it. Of course, in the relegation zone as early as sort of 3 weeks ago. Now looking at heading in potentially to finals if they keep this going.
Yep, it was very hard to sort of pick what the story is down at Woodville and chatting to some other clubs around Division 5. They've said Woody South are a very hard team to play against. They've just been unlucky in the first portion of the season where they couldn't register some wins. So for them, form, momentum and belief is contagious. And if they can just improve on defence and find another goal or two from somewhere, they've got some spearheads down in the forward line. If maybe a wingman or a midfielder can chip in with a goal or two each week, their margins have been pretty close in most of their games throughout the year. So maybe this ladder position of 6th and 5 wins is a true reflection of where Woody South stand and not the 0-7 which we saw after round 7. For Pulteney, defensively, they've conceded 100 points on average in the last 5 weeks, so they need to shore up their defence down at Pulteney. For Salisbury, they need to probably kick a few more bigger scores on the board. They sit equal second last for points for. They've been hard to play against, apart from Greenacres and Marion in both of those occasions. They've only conceded 100 points on another 2 occasions. So against the teams in the middle of the ladder, they're very competitive. They just need to find some goals from somewhere else. The 9th place team, Gazer, I've got for them, they're going okay. They're not putting the score on the board that they want, but defensively they're super sound. They're very hard to play against. All of their games, you look across, the majority of them have been very, very low scoring and tight contests. So for them, I've just got luck. They just need a bit of luck to fall their way, Lachie. They've had 7 losses by under 2 goals. And on the weekend, they kicked 1 goal 7 versus the opposition 4 goals 2 in the second half. So as I touched on, defensively, they're sound, second best in the entire division. They've only conceded 928 points. Apart from Marion, the rest of the teams have conceded over 1,000 and most of them over 1,100 points. So for Gazer, it's just a bit of luck.
Just on that though, I mean, 1 goal, 7.5 of footy. You can say they need luck. I would make an argument that they need to, kick goals more accurately.
Yeah, it's probably fair enough. Probably fair enough assumption there. And yeah, as we touched on, only they're second last for points for. But 7 losses by under 2 goals. Come on, mate. Give him a bit of
You don't.
a bit of a reprieve.
You can't. You can't rely on luck to go your way to win a premiership, or even in, I guess, kind of Gazer's case, stay out of that relegation zone.
Sometimes you need a bit of luck, and a couple of other teams in Division 5 have had a bit of luck, I reckon, across the year. So it comes and goes. Hopefully they can get some and stay out of the relegation zone, especially because they come down from Division 4 last year. So it would be a massive shame to see Gazer in Division 6.
Yeah.
They are historically a Division 2, even Division 1 club as far as maybe 10 or so years ago. So it'd be a shame to see them in Division 6.
Absolutely.
And the last team, Trinity, offense and defense. It's been a bit of a weird one at Trinity. I was down there a few weeks ago, and the belief is there. They've got a great squad. They've had some injuries, but for them, they just need they're last for points for. They've got the 4th best defense, but I think the numbers maybe are a little bit skewed from a couple of low total points games. They've actually conceded 5. They've conceded 100 points on 5 occasions, which is equal most in the competition. So for Trinity, get some scores on the board. They probably need a few troops back as well, and just shore up that defense a little bit. So that is the ladder as it currently stands, and a little bit of a focus area for each team as we come into the remaining 5 games of the year. Woody South, 0-7 after round 7. Where are they now? They are 6th. They've won 5 of their last 6 games. And as we just touched on, and rightly so as well, their coach, Mick, he's also the Farmers Leap Coach of the Week recipient, and for good reason, I think. It's a great story down at Woody South. And post round 7, they were 3 games out of the relegation zone. And like I said, it would have to be some sort of a Christmas miracle for them to escape relegation. And the Christmas miracle has arrived. They are now 1 game above the relegation zone and only a game out of finals. So would you believe it, Lachie?
Yeah, well, I mean, I'll ask you this question just based off everything you've just told me. Can they play finals?
They certainly can. Yeah, I think so.
Will they play finals then? I'll change my question.
Oh, will they? Yes, I actually think they will. I think it might be between them and Portland maybe that just sort of flip. I'm not sure if there's enough at Salisbury. Gazer can't quite get a score on the board as well to sort of propel them up into the finals placings. Pulteney are missing their star goal kicker as well, so that's a big out for them.
I'm glad you did touch on goal kickers because that's a very interesting, I guess, kind of looking ladder. I'd also like to highlight Trinity. They went 1-6. They're now 3-3 since then. So that's a bit of a good turn of form from them. Yeah,
they were 1-6, sitting in 9th after round 7. They've won 3 of 3, as you just said, 3 out of 6. Sorry. They actually gone down a place. They're bottom of the ladder. So that just shows how tight Division 5 is, and I've loved covering it thus far. Lachie.
Round 14. So there's some good games coming up in round 14. Portland taking on Woody South. This may decide who plays finals, funnily enough.
It really will. Yeah, I wish I saw that before I just gave my tip there. It's at Portland, and they can kick a good score on the board. I am going to tip Portland at home.
So, hang on. Woody South play finals, but it's between Portland and Woody South, and Portland win this game.
That's how tight Division 5 is, Lachie?
No, it's not. That's not how that works.
That's how it works. That's how it works in my brain.
Rightio. So he's got you to win this week and not win again there, Portland folks. And Woody South, I guess, lose this week and win the rest of the season. That's the only way that's going to be able to make sense logically. But anyway, Bracker and Salisbury.
I think Bracker bounced back. 1 win in their last 6. They need to win for some confidence, as well as just making sure they hold their ladder position. I think they'll be too good for Salisbury.
Greenacres against Trinity.
Greenacres should win there. Yep.
Gazer taking on Pulteney.
This is an interesting one. I'm going to go with Gazer at home. Yeah, Pulteney is just sliding a little bit. And Gazer, they've also slid a little bit as well, but they need a win. And they've been pretty close in the last few weeks. So I'm tipping Gazer to get the job done.
Marion taking on Eastern Park.
Match of the round has to be all the way down at Marion. So it's a long away trip for Eastern Park. They might get a team bus or something down there and have a few cans on the way back home, I reckon, after a big win for Eastern Park. I think they cause a boil over down there, and they will be out for revenge. I'm absolutely sure of it after they got absolutely annihilated earlier in the season. They got done by Marion by 100 points. Eastern Park have turned things around. They're kicking a big score. If they can just stop Marion's run and gun sort of play, I think they can get the job done.
For mine, I mean, not that my tips mean a whole lot because I've been wrong in Division 1. I'll certainly be wrong with a couple here. I'm going to go with Woody South. I'm going to go with Paraka. I'm going to take Greenacres. I'm going to take Gazer, and I'm also going to have Marion at home. So a couple different from our Division 5 expert. If you're going to do something silly, a gamble, go with his tips. No, don't go with mine.
That's about all we've got for the Division 5 wrap for 5AA, Lachie. So, yeah, it's a very interesting comp. If you are involved in Division 5, you should be very excited. It's a great comp. And if you're not involved with Division 5, well, make sure you keep an eye on it because the ladder's jumping up and down. There's upsets galore all over the place. So it's a very exciting competition taking shape.
G'day everybody and welcome to What Caught Our Eye. And we're back with even more. It's been a fun week in all the divisions, hasn't it? I really enjoy this segment. So we're going to start with Div 7. And Div 7 had some fun, Jack.
It did. For Elizabeth, they had another huge win, and it's all about Stephen James down at Midway Road. He kicked 10 goals on the weekend for Elizabeth. He's leading the Division 7 goal kicking with 70. I've got a question for you, Lachie. Can he get to 100?
When we've got 5 rounds left, he's got to kick 6 goals a week. He'll fall just short.
I reckon you'll get there.
Yeah, all right.
Go on, put him in the cage, kick it to him, put it on his head.
Well, there you go. The defenders in Div 7 have got some work cut out for them, man. Bramah Lodge losing to Mitchell Park. That was my big, I guess, kind of shock. I didn't expect that from Bramah Lodge. They've been playing some good footy recently, but they slipped up a couple of weeks ago at Elizabeth. They slipped up last weekend.
That's another curse, the interview curse. You went out to Bramah Lodge, did an interview, and they lost. Yes. I went out to a couple of clubs and they've lost since then too. So maybe we should stop doing interviews.
Yeah, well, I mean, if either of us call you during the week, we implore you.
You will lose.
Do
the
not
next
say
week.
yes.
Division 6, West Croydon got a huge win. Their first win of the season. So congratulations to West Croydon, which I did tip. Just a little caveat there. I did tip that with Tony during the week, and also spotted this highlight in the Division 6 C grade, Rosewater with a kick after the siren to win. Thank you to Rosewater Patriot down there, Cooper, for the footage.
Yeah, Division 6 also saw St Paul's get over the top of Fitzroy. Meanwhile, Lonsdale got over the top of Para Hills in the Division 7 from last year grand final rematch. It's pretty interesting there. Both teams were searching for more wins, obviously, there. Division 5, please, Jack.
Division 5, well, it's the closest competition in Division 5. And if you rewind about 10 minutes, you can catch the entire Division 5 wrap with the Division 5 expert, yours truly.
Yeah, I was there too. I've also got there that Portland are on the rise and that Gazer may go down with the second best defence in the comp. Not very often that you see that, but it's a weird situation in Division 5 where you got both teams are on 4 wins in the relegation zone at the minute. Trinity, for example, have won 3 games since round 7 and have lost a position. So
they've gone down the ladder.
It's a really tight division. Division 4, please.
Hectorville upset Walkerville with a solid 32-point win. Hectorville sitting in mid-table and Walkerville up the top end of the ladder there. And for Plympton, well, they have a stranglehold on this division. They have an average winning margin of 82 points.
Yeah, 82 points. They keep it nice and close. It's really interesting for everybody watching along, but they did get over the line this weekend by 129 points. Division 3, please.
Pembroke, a great away win from home to second place Unley Jets. So that keeps Pembroke around the mark and just pegs Unley back a little bit.
Absolutely. They're Camden and Seaton, the only teams to score over 100 points. Both had a win But it's very interesting. I think I said something very similar a couple weeks ago. It was Edwardstown were the only team to get over the top of 100. So the defences in Division 3 seem to be very strong. The attacking, though, could use a little bit of work. Shout out to the attackers in Division 3 there. Div 2.
Div 2, Modbury stayed in touch with the top 5, winning by 1 point against Old Iggy's. And how's this for a big bag of snags? Jed Russell for Athelston kicked 10 goals as Athelston returned to winning ways with, guess how much they won by?
Athelston won by, I think it was 121 points, wasn't it?
151, you're close.
Oh, jeez. Well, the nightmare. He's certainly terrorising a few people down there with his coaching strategies. In Division 2, I had a little bit similar, but on the opposite end of the scale. 3 games decided by under a goal. Goodwood Saints, one of the teams that ended up getting over the top there. They played Brighton. We spoke about them in the Division 1 wrap. Speaking of which, Division 1, please.
Division 1, unlike the other divisions, we are nowhere near closer to determining who's getting relegated or who's playing finals. I think you're going to say this one as well, Lachie. You should check out the Division 1 full wrap and you can see what we are bloody on about.
Yeah, 100%. I might say a little bit cleaner than that. You can catch the Division 1 wrap whenever you feel like, and make sure you do tune in each and every week to Between the Posts. It has been great fun, but that wraps us up for what caught our eye.
G'day footy fans, it's that time of the week again, your Born to Build Marks of the Week. Seen a great hanger across the Adelaide Footy League over the weekend? Make sure you get your nominations in to Darcy at Filming Footy. But for now, check out these Marks of the Week.
Spotted Schmidt, does it get to him? Oh, courageous effort there in front. Fantastic mark. Schmidt, does it get to him? Oh, courageous effort there in front. Fantastic mark.
G'day footy fans, it's that time of the week again, your Born to Build Goals of the Week. Make sure you get your nominations in to our wonderful producer Darcy at filmingfooty.com.au and check out these Snags of the Week.
Gets the handball, over the clock, his handball, now, went to Queen handball, yeah mate, straight to the goal square, they're going to come away with the balls. Run on the fence, or straight off the bench, that much cut beautifully, beats off the handball, and suddenly it's coming back the other way, there's another player, 3 hands, and Wazzy, unassisted, there's going to be a quick snap here, Ricky Thomas, hands, and Wazzy, unassisted, there's going to be a quick snap here, Ricky Thomas. And that makes it 5 in a row now.
Alrighty, footy fans, that just about wraps up this episode of Between the Posts. But before we go, we've got the last word, thanks to Sapol. It's been a great morning down here at the Midway Tavern. It was a brisk morning down here, so the coffees were warm, the heaters were on, keeping us nice and warm, and also the beers were cold, Lachie.
Yeah, they were. We definitely didn't have any at all. Not at all.
We've got some milestones to finish off. So Lachie, kick it off, mate.
Yeah, absolutely. So Port District, they love us, so we're going to sending some love back their way. Sean Davidson, a dual premiership captain there at PDFC, played 100 games, and 100 games also for Daniel Passanidi, who was the 2022 premiership player as well.
At the Salisbury Football Club, a couple of 150 game milestones, so congratulations to a couple of players that I played with back in the day. Nathan Shute and big Nico Smith in the ruck. He's a B-grade premiership skipper from back in the day, so congratulations. And at Edwardstown, my man, Jimmy Parker. He's a junior Edwardstown player, C-grade BNF winner in 2024, and now he's the C-grade skipper. So congratulations, Jimmy, on 150 games at Edwardstown.
Yeah, does a fantastic job down there. 251 games, because we missed someone last week. I do apologise to Sam Murphy at the Blackfriars Football Club. Congratulations on your 251st playing occasion. We do apologise for missing you last weekend.
And how's this for a massive milestone in a great occasion for Golden Grove over the weekend, celebrating their 30-year anniversary. They had the replica jerseys out. They look bloody fantastic, as you'll see in the photo that's coming up now. 300 games for Todd Shepherd, A-grade games record holder at Golden Grove, 5-time premiership player, club captain in 2010 and 2012, 2-time club champion, 2-time association medalist, just to name a few of his accolades. But the one that I love the most, guess how many goals he kicked on the weekend playing in the D grade for Golden Grove?
Yeah, I remember this. I was talking to my cameraman when the text came through, and I said 14 goals, and he goes, well, it wasn't quite 15, so.
It was big 14 snags for Shep, so congratulations, mate. It was a pleasure to play a couple of games with you back in the day in the A grade for Golden Grove, and congratulations on 300 big ones.
Well, Jack, that gets us to the end of the show. Do you want to run the outro this week?
Yeah, sure. It's been a great episode here, Lachie. Plenty to get through, which we did, and it was great fun going through Division 5, Division 1. Bet come in for the Division 1 Women's Report as well. So if you've stuck around this long, thank you very much. We always love your viewership each and every week. Can't wait to bring you more Between the Posts here on Filming Footy.